Hello, I am Lunge the Dinosaur, and I want to thank you for allowing me to address the Lunge Let Us Not Go Extinct Party Convention. As you know, I was your presidential candidate in 2012, and it is my distinct pleasure and honor to address this august company. Let us not go extinct. The feminist evolution. The feminist evolution has been going on a long time. In the 1960s, the feminine energy of the Earth Mother caused an awakening to the fact that we had lost our human connection to nature and to the poetic mind of the universe. This awakening began to cause the tension that has been the battleground for survival of our higher humanity and the future of human life on Earth. The assassination of John F. Kennedy started this long, hard, and bloody uncivil war, a division of our people by those who wish to cling to their illegal power, by stalling the progression of the human race. In fact, a retrograde consciousness that wants to return to the past of rich white men and aristocracy, maintained by the elitist tyranny of wealthy rulers. We protested the toxic pollution of our environment and the Vietnam War. We stood against the lawlessness of Nixon, the corruption of Reagan, the duplicity of Clinton, and the fascism of the Bushes, and the capitulation of Obama, and the obvious corruption of the wealthy global corporatist agenda of Queen Hillbilly Clinton. Our hearts were broken again and again by the constant betrayal of our feminist movement to bring peace and love, to evolve our nation and save the future from war and wage slavery and toxic fossil fuel poisoning. Liberal voices were rubbed out by suspicious murders and manufactured accidents. The CIA killed Martin Luther King Jr., Black Panthers, Medgar Evers, CIA agent Robert Morales, the temporary security guard killed Robert Kennedy, and John Lennon was gunned down by secret agent Jose Palermo, the temporary doorman, JFK Jr., even Tim Russert, and the disappearance of far too many suspicious deaths linked to JFK, science, banking, and holistic medicine. Mysterious deaths like Abby Hoffman, and more recently, Victor Thorne, Sean Lucas, Joe Montano, and Seth Rich, who were investigating election fraud by Hillbilly Clinton in 2016. This uncivil war became a shooting war with the death of the progressive John F. Kennedy. Special counter spy Lee Harvey Oswald did not shoot JFK or any of the many suspicious deaths. The Republican fascists of the Bush dynasty caused the world to fall like the towers of controlled demolition 9/11 on the hopes and dreams of innocent, disenfranchised, and enslaved working class uncitizens of a forgotten underclass. Instead of any solutions to the frayed social fabric of any but the highest elites, we got more international corporate war on peace, on international law and sovereignty, on the poor, on women's rights, all minorities, on the poetic, artistic compassion of those who love the blessed herb, and on the future of the planet, war on all life, war on the very soul of our humanity itself. This entitled neo-slaveholder elitism has been murdering people and killing off the future of our human civilization. Elites destroy civilization by hoarding all the resources to themselves and causing famine and despair among the masses. The old hippies have been subjected to second-class citizenship, relegated to spaced-out childish stoners who cannot see the practicality of a lifeless universe limited only to physical power and materialism, while quantum physics describes the energetic immensity of eternal consciousness known to anyone who ever dropped acid, or listened to the Beatles, or danced to the Grateful Dead. Marijuana was internationally suppressed by racist Nixon, and the ancient herbal medicine was attacked by corporate media as a demon, and the war on drugs turned our nation into a third world banana republic. Locked away in smoky, low-rent rooms, we hid out from this storm of violence and hate and waited for the decades to pass, knowing their lies would one day come to light and praying that that day would be soon. The 2000 selection of George W. Bush ensured that we had lost our way, and the continuing Iraq invasion carried on the American fascist legacy of genocide and incarceration, expanding into oil fields and heroin poppy fields of Afghanistan, ever with the crosshairs on oil-rich Iran. We sought safety and a fragile private freedom, ever deeper underground, hiding from the bullies of petty, small-minded, racist police and corporate pundits and power-mad crusaders against the future, and all manner of self-infatuated administrators and supervisors and CEOs and bosses and owners and elitist preachers, false celebrity statesmen, and fake folksy fools. And now, the surreal unreality of TV selections. Inner cities crumbling in blood-drenched rubble, and the fires and looting and mass murders of a people in sore distress were ignored. Even when water was poisoned with lead and the social safety net torn to shreds by bloated neocons and neolibs, citizens united, and the Patriot Act turned our world into the spy on you society, with Big Daddy watching constantly for any sign of a green revolution to save the future and stop this inevitable suicide of the human race in a terrible extinction looming ever closer, while nothing gets fixed, and the wars and the oil and the heroin flow, making sure the blood money flows to the very, very few who profit off the blood and fire and tears of this sad, stolen global world. A world that has not changed in the time since the corporations took over our world in the beginning of the 1900s, with the Federal Reserve and the central banks and the war machine chugging on, grinding the bone and blood and guts of the poor in a meat grinder of corporate rule for the perpetual war and genocide that started with the Native Americans and the enslaved Africans and the indentured servants and poor displaced immigrants and the refugees of war that now includes everyone but the 400 families of extreme unregulated oceans of cash. This bloated and perverted bazillionaire class. All these long and terrible years we lived under the tyranny of a corporate police state. We continued our brave social revolution, singing songs of peace and love, writing, painting, speaking the truth of the true humanity, of love and compassion and tolerance and mystic imagination and eternal faith in the new age of Aquarius, where everyone is a divine person, full of wisdom and glad to sacrifice selfish interests for the good of all humanity and all life brought forth by the Earth Mother. We worship and adore. We stood against the organized religious elitism, social racism, embracing the cultural gifts of all people. We worship the universe itself without needing cultural mythology to tell us what our own moral code was. We looked deeply within and meditated on our own visions, standing up and looking the universe right in the eye as equals. We evolved and we grew, and we became aware of a poetic mind in the grace and beauty of the present moment. And we prayed for legalization of the blessed sacred herb and the childlike innocence and simplicity that it symbolized. We prayed all alone for the restoration of our humanity and our love of nature. We demanded again and again that we become a non-violent civilization, all while the government and the corporations fought wars for oil and heroin, the fascist cash crop final solution, a nation of drugged-out zombies, dulled and chained to addictive alcohol, nicotine, heroin, crack cocaine, prescription drug poison, and cheap and deadly opiates. Many of those who were truly called to the feminist evolution, even after the summer of love turned into the winter of fascist tyranny, those who did not become responsible family producers of the next generation of slaves and cannon fodder, designed to be mere drones, thoughtless consumers for the corporate state.